Coming to you live from Geekly Studios in DeSoto, Texas. Coming to you live from Geekly's Esports Studios in DeSoto, Texas. King David Reeves and the MentorConnector podcast present another Mentor Moment. Great day, great mentors. Rise and grind. It's time to shine. Welcome to another powerful episode of the MentorConnector podcast here on the Geekly's Esports Masterclass. I'm your host, King David Reeves, and I have a very special guest with us here today, ladies and gentlemen. I have a brother who actually is so special, I need to read off part of his bio for y'all, because this brother here is someone who has so many letters behind his name that if I told you, it would sound like I was saying my ABCs, all right? So he is the president and CEO of Primary Care Solutions. Headquartered here in Dallas, but it's in 3 different states right now and then constantly expanding. Now, he is a service-disabled veteran of the United States Air Force. Of course, the best branch out there. We're not going to argue about that. People just know that that's the truth. And he is also a former firefighter / paramedic. Like, he started his medical career back in 1996, and he earned a Master's of Science in Nursing in 2013. His degree is actually in adult / gerontological primary care nurse practitioner from the University of South Alabama. Shout out to them. He also holds a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from none other than our very own University of Texas at Arlington, right down the street here. He has licenses and certifications that include board certification as a primary care nurse practitioner, and he is 4 classes, ladies and gentlemen. I repeat, 4 classes away from earning his Doctor of Nursing Practice, which is a DNP, and is the highest academic degree you can earn in that field of study. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just his accolades on the educational side. This brother has overcome a lot to get where he is today, and he's successful in so many different ways. And I've only known him for a short period of time, but I can tell by the relationship he has with his wife, who is also his business partner, helping him with all this. Shout out to the good husbands out there. This man is someone you need to pay close attention to, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure he has a few jewels for us today. And without further ado, help me welcome to our show my brother, Mr. Derrick Love Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Derrick, pretty soon. Dr. Love Jones, pretty soon. Derrick, welcome to the show, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, David. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the honor of coming on our show, man. I really was intrigued just hearing part of your testimony, so I'm like, I know there's a whole lot more there to unearth that not only I want to hear, but I know our audience, which is predominantly youth, millennials, and some that are looking for mentors. So a lot of people's parents are out there. My parents' age range, the baby boomer generation. So we got a lot of good diversity in our audience, but
Right.
A story like yours, man, I don't even know where you begin, how you got to be on your path to success. So I just want you to take it from the top, my brother. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, I tell you, my path to success started in high school.
Wow.
I had in high school.
Wow.
I grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, and my high school track coach instilled some very, very important life traits that I carried forward to today. You know, I still look at some of the things that he taught us, and that's where it all started for me.
So you say he was one of your first mentors that you really
Absolutely.
had a huge impact on?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
He was one of my first mentors that really had a impact on my life. He didn't know it, and I didn't know it at the time. But as I grew older in age, and start looking back on my life and the things that I've been through,
Yeah.
I realized that some of the pearls that he taught us on the track way back then really carried me through
Yeah.
the
Hindsight's always
hardships, the
2020.
highs and lows. So, it started back then.
Okay, so you're saying high school, but what was your upbringing like? Did you have both parents in your life? Because Wisconsin, I don't think of the Wisconsin. I don't have too many friends from Wisconsin, man. I know about the cheese, the big cheese, because of Green Bay, I think. But what is that? What is your city compared to Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is of course famous because of Packers?
Well, Racine is a small community outside of Milwaukee, about 30 minutes from Milwaukee. Everybody knows Milwaukee because of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Absolutely.
But my upbringing, I grew up with a stepfather in my life. He married my mother when I was 3 years old. I didn't know my natural father. I didn't meet my natural father until I was 13 years old.
Wow, that sounds like similar to my wife's story, and she met her biological father when she was 19.
Yeah, so, yeah, and we met, and it was something that I cherished as a young man, being able to know who my actual father was. But my stepfather, he played a very integral part in my life. If he hadn't been there, I think I'd either be dead or in prison for sure.
Wow.
He instilled some a very strong work ethic. He was not himself. He was not a even high school graduate.
Oh wow.
So he battled a lot, but he overcame those limitations. Got a great job working for the city of Racine, where he ultimately retired from. And him and my mother made a life for myself and my siblings. And
beautiful. And how many siblings did you have?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the oldest of 4.
Oh wow. I'm the oldest too, but just of 2.
Yeah. And on my natural father's side, I am actually the youngest of 5 and the only boy. So
it's funny how that works. Yeah, my wife's similar. She's the youngest in her on her mom's side, and then on her biological dad's side, she's the oldest. So you just like it's funny. You fall in the middle, or you're
fall
big
in
bro.
In the top on one, and in the middle on the bottom on the other.
Absolutely, the best.
But it was growing up in Racine was it was very good. I think it sheltered me from a lot of things. I mean, my parents did not have a lot to offer us. I mean, I remember asking for some nice shoes, and we just could not afford that. It was either buy those nice shoes or eat. And that's not an option for when you are going. When you're growing up like that. My stepdad, he was he was working a lot. My mother worked, and
so they were very hard workers. And you're not saying when you're saying you're sheltered from a lot, it's like almost like you're saying you're protected because it was a smaller town, but you're not saying that there was no struggle. The struggle was still real, even with 2 parents in the home.
Oh yeah,
there's still struggle.
There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of struggle. We started out in low income housing. I would venture to say that call it a ghetto, but I don't like to use that term. But it's what we call it.
Right.
But like I said, they fought tooth and nail to pull us, myself and my siblings, out of that lifestyle. They sacrificed many things so that we could move out, have a home of our own that he actually built himself along with one of his construction friends to save money. He actually built this
Wow.
house himself. So we
So
had
it
a lot
sounds
of
like to me
struggles.
a lot of your work ethic comes from, because I know you do a lot, brother, and we're gonna get into that, of course. But a lot of your work ethic sounds like it comes from your dad. I say your stepfather, but really it's like your real dad, the one who
Yeah,
raised you and made
absolutely,
mold you into the man you are today,
absolutely,
and probably one of your foundational mentors as well,
absolutely, absolutely. You know, I
even
say
before the
that
coach.
living in Racine sheltered me. I don't want to make it sound like we lived in a bubble, because that wasn't the
Right,
case. I did have my ups and downs, and
right, right.
I'm a 3-time convicted felon,
Oh, whoa,
and
whoa! You just threw that out there, brother. How we
sorry, you know,
that do what? So you
yeah,
used to say it. Hold on, I don't think the audience was ready for that. Do it 3 times.
yes, I'm a 3-time convicted felon,
Okay, with 3
and
people. I just got through. We just watched watching that Jordan series. I guess they finished up the Last Dance.
yeah,
So the only 3-peat I'm thinking about right now is those championship Bulls teams.
right, right. But
So-
there's a lot of guys like me out there that
yeah,
have
definitely.
this weight that they carry around, and because of what society has deemed us,
Yeah, that stigma they put up.
it weighs them down so heavy that they just sometimes can't see a way out of it.
Right. A lot of times it
Um,
just holds them back and keeps them from progressing and not
Absolutely.
going back and
Absolutely.
staying in the
Absolutely.
cycle.
But I'm a living example that you
It's
can't
possible.
let the weight of that hold you back. That
Absolutely, brother.
you can claw your way out. You can climb that mountain
That's good, man.
and reach that peak. And that's what my stepfather instilled in me. That's what my track coach instilled in me, was to never give up.
Yeah.
Not don't stop
Persevere.
fighting. Just because somebody has placed a label on you doesn't mean that you have to accept that label.
Absolutely
It just
not.
means you continue to fight and take what's yours.
Yeah. 'Cause nobody's
America
just gonna hand
is-
it to you.
America is the greatest country in the world. Where you can go from being the lowest person on the totem pole
Mm.
to one of the highest people on the totem pole.
Wow.
And if
Now,
anyone
and that's kinda-
listening
that's
to
kinda
this
like
podcast can take away from that, that's what I would tell them, that you can do anything you want. You can be anything
Yeah.
you want,
Yes,
because
sir.
we live in this country.
Yes, sir. And it's kind of, I hear that as being almost like the caption of your story, man, because that's powerful, and I still wouldn't consider convicted felon the lowest person on the totem pole, but in our society, that
Yeah,
is
society.
that scarlet letter that they put on you. But
Absolutely.
for you to go from
Absolutely.
3-time convicted felon to doctor,
Absolutely.
multiple business owner in multiple states, like basically
Absolutely.
extra successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That says something.
It was.
That's
it was,
powerful.
It was. I have to give thanks to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, because
Absolutely.
without
Yes, sir.
that
Same.
in my life, I don't know that I would
Wouldn't
have
be-
made it, David. I really don't.
Never would
You
have
know, I didn't. I never went to prison, but I spent a lot of time in county jail, a lot of time.
Wow.
And
So is this after you had the coach's guidance?
absolutely.
In high school.
Absolutely, absolutely. After I had the coach's guidance, after I graduated high school, after I was out of
So-
the military,
Okay. So
I
so take us on that path, because a lot of times people think that a kid has to be marked for penitentiary. Of course, like with the school to prison pipeline, for instance.
Yeah.
If you can't read at your grade level by 3rd grade, then they're already building a prison cell for you. And a lot of times people will say, those kids are constantly getting in trouble, or
Yeah.
referrals and alternative schools, and
Yeah.
very very much so truth in that they're in line for the penitentiary. But were you you don't strike me as one of those kids growing up. But were you the atypical?
Well, no, I was a mediocre. I wouldn't even say mediocre. I was a DF student.
Gotcha.
You
gotcha,
know,
gotcha.
I never got a grade higher than a C in high school.
Oh wow.
I just, I just didn't apply myself.
It's not that you
so many
couldn't.
kids don't. They don't apply themselves today. But
Right. And a lot of times because they don't know what they're truly interested in or passionate about.
right,
And,
right.
and nobody spend time with them.
I had a pretty, uneventful childhood through high school, even through the military. I did really well in the military.
So you went
it was
straight after
after-
high school, I'm
it-
guessing, enlisted.
Yep, straight after high school. Right after my graduation, a month a month after I graduated, I went to basic training camp in San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base. Spent my time down there, and after I got out of the military, I traveled, quite a bit for the military. Did some things that
I was gonna say how many years?
I was in there for 3.5 years.
Same. After
Yeah.
I graduated from A&M.
Yeah, and after I got out is when I really had all the issues.
Wow.
You don't. One thing, the military is a great place to go and explore the world and explore yourself, especially as a young man or a woman.
Yeah.
But
so
you need to do something while you're in there. You need to get an education. You
Yep,
need to save money.
'Cause they're sure,
you know.
sure enough going to take advantage of you
Yes.
and your
yes,
time. So you
yes,
might as well
yes.
milk them.
You
for
need
what
to
they
take
get.
advantage of that time.
There's a lot
So
of
if you're
benefit.
thinking about the military, if you're thinking about that, I encourage you.
Yeah.
Do it. But
And
while you're
how
there,
did you take advantage of your benefits?
while you're there, do something. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't take advantage while I was in there. That's why when I talk to youth, I tell them, that's what they should do.
Yeah, don't
Go
miss
to
out on
college.
what I did.
They pay for that. They'll pay for
Yes,
that
sir.
that schooling. They'll pay for you to take different classes.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
they give you a paycheck every 2 weeks. You don't have to spend all of it. Save half of it.
So true.
you know. So that's
But
what
you
I didn't do. You know.
and so you didn't do it while you were in there, but you did take advantage of it afterwards. Clearly, getting your master's and
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely, I did.
And that's
Absolutely,
what
I
another
took-
powerful lesson is that it's never too late.
Yeah,
as long as-
absolutely. I took advantage of it afterwards. But after I got out of the military, talking about my past history, is where when I discharged from the military, I just started hanging out with the wrong people. I didn't have a purpose in life. I didn't have something that
That's a key
I
point.
needed to focus in on to keep me moving forward, to keep using that momentum that I had from the military.
Right.
I lost focus. And,
Yeah.
I encourage
Without
these,
purpose.
young people to not lose focus on it, to have something that you have a passion about and go after it.
Got to figure out what that is.
Unfortunately, I hung out with the wrong people, and
where,
that drug me down.
how do you recognize the wrong people for
Well-
the young people out here who think, because a lot of times you're gonna hang out with whoever you're like or you want to be like, but
Right.
you may not realize that those are the wrong type of people to be influencing you.
The wrong people, I would define the wrong people as people that are stationary,
That's
not
good.
moving.
Complacent.
If they're
Yeah.
not complacent, if they're not moving, that's a bad sign right there. If they're
Yeah.
not moving forward, if they're not working toward a goal,
Yeah.
that's a bad sign right there.
And preferably goals similar to your own in life. But
Yeah,
that's why you got to
absolutely.
know what you want out of life.
Absolutely.
What you're passionate about, what
Absolutely.
your purpose is. And
Absolutely,
do you find
agreed.
yourself hanging around a lot more people who are goal oriented and similar purpose or goals in mind as yours now that you've grown and matured since that time?
I hang around people that one are positive people.
Yeah.
I don't think about anything negative. I always tell my staff, I always look at the glass half full, not half empty.
Absolutely. Same here.
If I looked at the glass half empty, I would be where I am today.
That's good. Because wherever your focus goes, your energy flows.
I wouldn't have taken that risk and started a small business and grew it from there. But I hang around people that, and I encourage young people out there to hang around people that are higher than you, or where you aspire to be.
Absolutely.
If you aspire to be a multimillionaire, hang out with multimillionaires.
Yes, sir.
Because what they've learned, they're going to teach you. If you aspire to be the best gamer around, hang out with the best gamers. Hang out with some of those types of people.
Yes,
because what they've learned, that's going to trickle down to you. How they motivate themselves, that's going to trickle down to you, and eventually it's going to permeate your cells and permeate your thoughts, and that's where you're going to be focused at.
Yep. So, and you're the sum total of your 5 closest friends.
Absolutely.
And I think Mark Cuban was saying if you're in a room and you're the smartest one in the room, you don't need to be there. Like, you're wasting your time.
Yep. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I hang out with guys that and women that are where I want to go to, where I want to be in 10 years, where I want to be in 5 years. And that's where I look at. That's where I hope that young people can take from this is aspire to be great, aspire to be better than great.
Yep, but you got to hang around the greats and study the greats.
You absolutely do.
In order to become greater. Yes, sir. And during your time in county, what was it? Because I know you said that it was the friends you were hanging around that got you there. But what was it about your time, or just that stage of your life where you became a repeat convicted felon? Like what caused that happen, or cause that to happen, like they say, institutionalization?
It's it's all about hanging around the people that you hang around. My first conviction, it was, everyone was surprised. By the grace of God, I wasn't sent to prison, and that was only by the grace of God that I wasn't sent to prison. Because the judge, and this is something that I remember standing in front of the judge at the age of 21, 22 years old. I'm sorry, I was probably 21, 20, somewhere in that area. I remember standing in front of this judge, and this judge looking at me and pointing his finger in my face while I'm standing in front. He told me, Mr. Love, if it wasn't for your father and your mother being here to support you, and some of the other people that they pulled in to support you, I would be sending you to prison for 7 years right now. And I'd never forget the judge. I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget the look in his eyes. If he could have sent me to prison, he would have.
Wow.
He would have sent me to prison. As a first-time convicted felon, he would have sent me to prison. And I chalk it up as, having a praying mother, a praying father, and by the grace of God that kept me out of prison.
To God be the glory. Man.
But that stigma follows you.
Yeah, it's hard to shake.
Throughout your lifetime. It follows you throughout your lifetime. My second conviction was solely based on because I had a previous conviction.
Ah, man.
That's how the system is
set up.
That's how the system is.
Yeah, it's very intentional.
The system has conditioned people to believe that because you already have a conviction,
Yeah,
because you're
mistake.
already a felon,
Yep.
if you make another mistake, it's probably because you are that's probably
'Cause
instilled
you
in
haven't changed. You couldn't ain't no
know?
possible way in the world you could have changed. No.
So
Yeah.
and that's just not it's not true.
It's
You
not
know,
true.
it's not true. People can change.
Absolutely.
I'm living
Prime
proof
example.
of that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm living proof of that. People can change.
And that's why I feel it's so important for
so-
people to see brothers like yourself who have changed, and not only changed for the better, but become a productive, contributing member in our society. And 'cause
Yeah,
what you're doing
absolutely.
for service disabled veterans like yourself, like I am, it's phenomenal, man. And just think if the judge had
Oh.
pointed his finger in your face with that death look in his eye and said 7 years
Yeah.
in prison was your sentence.
Man, I still, David, I still get choked up and teary eyed thinking when I see that, when I go back to that moment, I still get choked up and I still get teary eyed about it because, man, I tell you, he could have very easily sent me to prison.
Yeah.
Very easily, without any
A
hesitation.
whole lot worse. Yeah.
And
And it probably would have
and-
derailed everything
Yeah.
that you've accomplished since.
everything. I believe that nothing happens by coincidence
Right.
in life, and
Absolutely not.
there's things that happens in people's lives that either build you or
break
tear you down.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and it's all about how you look at it, how you take that moment
Those broken pieces up.
and utilize it.
Yes, sir. You
Either
they
by
break
building
you,
yourself up or continuing to tear yourself down. It's
Yeah.
your choice.
So it's either they either break you or it's your breakthrough.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But the choice
absolutely.
is yours.
Absolutely. It's your choice.
Because the same pieces break someone else down, the next person pick those pieces up and
Yeah.
put them back together, use it to rebuild their lives for their breakthrough. So
And that's what I
Absolutely.
did.
And that's
that's
exactly
exactly
what you did,
what I did, David. I gave my life to Christ, and
this happened after.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow! So
Absolutely.
this whole
I
time I'm
was-
thining you grew up in the church or whatnot.
No, I did grow up in the church, but I fell away like so many of us do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But
many of
especially at a young age, you get out on your own, and you forget some of the things that you were taught.
We're instilled
you know,
in you early
and
on. Yeah.
I remember the day I gave my life back to Christ. I was sitting in my living room, my one-bedroom living room home in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nice. I got family there.
Yeah.
Good place.
I had just rolled a honey blunt, and I'm sure some of your listeners out there know what that is. I'm just keeping it real.
Some of them playing the game right now.
I'm
rolling
just
one.
keeping it real. I just rolled a honey blunt, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and
Oh,
my
man.
normal routine on Sunday was to get up, sit in my chair with my blunt in my hand, and listen to. I listened to Joel Osteen. I listened to Charles Stanley every Sunday morning.
That's good
And
stuff,
I don't know
man.
what overcame me on this Sunday morning, but I remember listening to Joel Osteen, and at the end of his service, he always has a coming to Jesus
Yeah.
moment. And I remember falling on my knees and asking the Lord. I said, Lord, if you real, be real to
Yeah.
me right now.
Woo. It's really that simple, man.
And at that moment, my
felt it.
life changed. Everything in my life changed.
That's powerful. I
and
appreciate you sharing that, bro.
It was as simple as that, man. It really was.
Yeah.
I was
It's not
just
easy,
sick
but
and
it's simple.
I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
You know, I was sick and
and-
tired of being sick and tired.
Not enough
You
people
know.
get to that point, and that's the problem. And they want to keep going until they get to that point. It's like, nah, don't wait until you flat on your back and you
Yeah.
have nowhere to look but up. Because when you hit rock bottom, there's only one place you can look.
That's right.
It's up.
That's right.
Realize he's
That's
the only
right.
rock at the bottom.
And that's what I did when I did that. I was working for the Department of Veteran Affairs in Atlanta. I decided at that moment that this was not the life that I wanted to live anymore.
It's
I
powerful.
wanted to live a different life. I
Good
wanted to
decision.
be the man that God has made me, the God that God has out there for me to be, and that's to be a mighty man of God, powerful man of God, wealthy man of God.
Yeah.
You know, so
Receiving all that.
So-
I claim that as well. And
So
so
that-
you're working for the Department of Veteran Affairs after your run-ins with the law.
I did.
Correct.
I worked for the and
Beautiful.
believe it or not, I worked for the Postal Service after my first conviction.
Wow.
I absolutely did. You know, like I said, I look back over my life and I look back at the things that I've been through, and I say, man, what was going on then? You know, why me? You know,
That word.
and you know, it was. You know, I see it now. You know, I didn't see it then, but I see it now. You know,
Hindsight,
guy
always
that
20/20.
interviewed me at the Postal Service saw something in me that I didn't see.
Wow.
And
So you
he
had
gave me
mentors
an
even there.
opportunity. You know, he gave me an opportunity. You know,
That's beautiful. Man.
And-
So you had mentors at the Postal Service.
yeah, guys. I mean, he even told me during my interview. He said, Derrick, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm gonna hire you.
Won't
And
he do
he
it?
hired me.
Still
and,
can't explain
you
to
know,
this day, probably.
Still
You
can't
know
explain
why.
to this day. You
But
know,
he
and
glad he
hired
did.
me. And you know,
powerful.
so I work for the Department of Veteran Affairs as a nursing assistant for 11 years.
Oh wow.
Um,
so this
yeah.
just didn't happen overnight. You
No.
stepping out
No.
into entrepreneurship.
No,
so
it
I
did
just want
not.
to make that clear, people. Everybody watching this right now realize this was not just some overnight success story. He popped up and all of a sudden, oh, he has all these medical clinics all over this, not only the state of Texas, but multiple states. And he's doing well for himself, bouncing back from being a 3-time convicted felon.
Yeah. No, it wasn't
doesn't
easy.
just happen.
You know.
Voila, genie magic trick. And it didn't just happen after he came to the Lord either. It changed, but a lot of people think you gotta miss the process, or you get to skip some steps in the journey. Like everybody, especially this generation, social media generation, right now generation, we want it today. We want the microwave, not the oven.
Yeah, there's no skipping.
No.
There's
But
no
you
skipping.
you understand now,
Yeah.
down the road, hindsight 2020, now that you are where you are, why you had to go
Through the
journey,
things I
path,
did, yeah.
through the things, through the time that
Absolutely.
it took. And so explain a little bit of that to our
So
audience.
So the things that my past, it was something that helped propel me to where I am. That determination, that grit, that
Good.
never give up attitude
Yeah.
is something that you have to have in order to be successful in life. Life is going to throw you lemons. It's all about what you do with those lemons. You can
Yes, sir.
you can wallow in your sorrow, or you can build you that lemonade stand and start selling lemonades.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I did. You know, I worked for the VA for so many years, but during that time
While you were
at
working.
the VA, I went to school.
Yeah.
I went, you know, I worked on
Improving
getting my
yourself.
bachelor's degree,
Yeah. So
which
you
took
improved
me
your
5
education.
years to do.
Hey,
you know.
but you got it done.
Absolutely. I worked to
And
a full-time job. I just newly married.
oh wow, so you got married around this time as well.
I did. I got married in 2005, and so I was working full time, going to school full time, and providing for a family full time.
Wow.
And it was tough. You know, I'm not going to mince words on there. It was tough,
There you go.
but it can
Yeah.
be done.
No need to sugarcoat.
You just have to want to do it.
You gotta want
Bottom
it badly
line,
enough. Yes,
you
sir.
have to want to do it, and the more you want to do it, the more successful you're going to be.
Mm.
You know, and some of my mentors today, they look at me now and they're like, "Wow, Derrick, I remember looking at you 20 years ago, walking into you know, this place with flip-flop shoes on, a t-shirt on, shorts,
Khaki short.
you know, khaki shorts on,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, and
Used to be
look,
like
I
that.
remember looking at you and saying to myself, man, this guy, I don't know if he's gonna make it.
It ain't gonna be much of nothing, man.
But you know, I had some
Little did
really
they know.
great. I had some really great mentors around me, some really great men of God around me that continue to encourage me. And they don't have to be
Yeah.
they don't have to be God-like people.
Right,
It-
for
it
you to
can
learn
it
from,
can be
absolutely,
anybody.
man.
It could be anybody. Somebody
sir.
that's going to speak positive into your life instead
Absolutely.
of speaking negative into your life.
Absolutely, I
You know,
certainly
that's what it-
certainly agree with that.
That's what it
Most
takes.
definitely.
You know.
And I also let people know too that you can learn from any and everybody, any and every interaction you have with people, no matter what it is, you can learn a lot or just as much from someone that you don't want to be like or don't want to become, or that
Absolutely.
that terrible boss or supervisor you had, or that
Absolutely true.
that crackhead that you don't want to be,
Absolutely true.
just as much as you can from that successful entrepreneur, that millionaire, billionaire entrepreneur who you do want to become like.
Absolutely true.
And that's why we just
you hit that right
treat
on
all-
the head, brother.
So you just
know,
got to
so-
treat all people right.
You know, so I continued on. You know, I got my bachelor's degree in nursing.
Okay,
from
and
the
this is all
University
while you're
of-
still
of
working at the
Arlington.
VA.
Yeah, all while I'm working full time.
Beautiful. So you were learning at the VA. Were you thinking about like, man, I do this all the time, man. I could open my own practice, man. You know what?
Yeah.
Why
And-
am I working like? What was that process like to transition yourself
Well,
from employee
one of-
to employer?
One of my
Oh,
mentors told me to write down my goals. You know, write down your 5-year goals, write down your
Yeah.
10-year goals.
Right, the
And
vision,
that's
make
what
it
I
plain.
did. I sat down and I wrote, what do I want to be doing in 5 years?
Yeah.
And my 5-year goal was to get my bachelor's degree. And then I had to sit down and write down the next 5 years after I hit that goal. You know, and so that's when I started to develop and really see that there was so much out there that I could be doing that I
Yeah.
wanted to do. And becoming a nurse after being a firefighter paramedic for for many years.
So what was that stage? So this is
Yeah,
after
that-
the VA.
That was after the my first conviction. I became a
Firefighter,
volunteer firefighter paramedic, and I worked in Milwaukee for a number of years as a paramedic, and yeah, that was after my first conviction. You know, it was all, you know, it was such a time in my life that when I decided to move from that to nursing, I knew that I had to get out of Milwaukee, get away from the people that I used to hang
Yeah.
around with, and get somewhere where I could actually do what I said I wanted to do.
Yeah, flourish.
And that's when I
environment
moved
and friends.
from Milwaukee to Atlanta, then Atlanta to Dallas here, and you know, it was that sheer determination that I did not want to do. You know,
Right.
be that person that I used to be. It was sheer determination that so that I was no longer sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
You know, I did not want to go back to that life. I did not want to go back to that state. So you know,
You
I
made
just
that
poured
decision.
all of it into it. I made the decision within myself that I was not going to let my past hold me back. I wasn't going to let what people said about me hold me back.
That's good.
And I was gonna pick myself up and do what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
And
what
that
you're born
was-
to do, with the
Yeah.
gifts, using the gifts inside you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I love hearing that volunteering was part of that, because I'm such a big trumpeter for the importance of community service and giving back.
Yeah.
Just like as much as I believe in mentoring and the importance of internships, whether paid or unpaid, because
Yeah.
it's like it teaches you so many valuable lessons, or the networking connections that you make while
Yeah.
in those positions lead to the career path that you truly want and desire. But a lot of people aren't willing to make that sacrifice on the front end to do something for free.
Yeah,
because
you
they
never,
don't-
you
they
never
don't see
know
that.
who you're gonna meet. You
Bingo.
never know who you're gonna meet or bump
Bingo.
into.
So
A
that
prime
was part
example,
of your journey.
how we bumped into each other.
Absolutely.
You know? Prime
Absolutely.
example.
And
So
shout out to your wife,
you never
Katrina.
know who you're gonna meet, and you take every opportunity. You take every
Right on.
opportunity as a you look at it, you dissect it,
Yeah.
and you know, see how it can benefit you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how it can help you reach your goal.
Right. And that can be
When
mutually
I
beneficial.
you know, mentor kids, I tell them, of course, I tell them about my history and how I overcame several obstacles.
Yeah.
But I also tell them you've got to never give up, though. You've got to
Yeah,
never
most
give
important.
up. You know, even today I still have obstacles. Even as a successful entrepreneur with a very successful business, I still have obstacles
So
that
it
I
doesn't
have
stop.
to overcome.
It doesn't stop
Because-
once you get to a certain level, is what you're saying.
No, it doesn't stop.
Okay.
It doesn't
So
stop
ju-
when you get
'cause-
to a certain level. You
So
know,
just because you start making some really good money, you're telling me the problems don't stop coming?
well, it's all about how you handle the problems. You know,
Bingo.
it's all
Bingo.
about how you handle the problems. You're always gonna problems are always gonna come up.
Right.
But like
right,
I said earlier, you know, I see the glass as half full, not
Yeah.
half empty.
Absolutely.
And that's how I approach every situation. That's how I approach every business decision. You know, of course, I always, you know, if I have questions, I always defer to my mentors.
Yeah.
One of my mentors is the CEO of Lowe's stores right now. You know, he is someone that
That's a good
that
mentor
I
to have.
call. What's that?
That's a good mentor to have.
It is. It is. You know, remember what I said. Hang out with people that you want to aspire to be.
Absolutely.
So, he's someone that I, you know, have conversations with, and
And you
he
said
helps
guide
guide
some.
me. You know.
Hey, see, and that's so powerful, because that you said something that's very powerful about the importance of the connections, and it reminded me of a quote that says there's a blessing in every connection, and at the same time, the fortune is in the follow up. And I think a lot of people miss out on their blessings because they don't follow up with people
Yeah.
and follow through, and we take each other for
Yeah.
granted a lot of times, not realizing your next blessings in that person that the Lord brought into your path or into your life,
Yeah.
and you just took it for granted, or you thought it was not that big a deal. So I imagine you connected with him some way that you weren't necessarily anticipating, but
No,
you didn't
I
lose that
wasn't.
connection.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. This was a connection that he came to our church here in Dallas, and I met him when he was the CEO of J.C. Penney's,
Oh, wow.
and then he went on to be the CEO of Lowe's now. So,
That's some pretty
you know,
good companies.
yeah, he's someone that I really look up to. You know, he's someone that I aspire to be. You know,
Awesome.
and
And that's solid, man.
you know, maybe not on that level where I'm running a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a J.C. Penney's,
Yeah, but you have your
where
own
I'm,
lane,
right? Where I'm running my
Definitely.
own, you know,
Which
your
is
businesses across
it's a lot more
several
freedom.
states. Instead of 3 or 4 states, I want to run them in 50 states.
Okay, and that's what I'm gonna ask, and want to respect your
Yeah.
time, brother. So we
Yeah,
wrap up
yeah.
here. A few minutes left. I just wanted to ask you, what are your future plans and aspirations? Because seeing someone like yourself on this level already, you have multiple disabled veteran service clinics. But
Well,
just make sure I'm saying it right. You say
Yeah.
it. You say it.
Yeah.
What all do you do right now? What are your future plans?
Well, what I do now is I run myself and my wife. We started a
Shout out Katrina, lovely wife.
primary care clinic in South Dallas, and that was my training ground, really.
Real South Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, real South Dallas. That was
Not
my
Southern.
training ground. And then
Oh,
I
you're
opened
ready
my
then.
second clinic in the 3rd Ward in Houston.
Oh
which
man,
was,
yeah, I got
you
family
know,
in 3rd and 5th ward.
Was
So-
even more training ground.
Yeah,
so
man.
so those were my building blocks that helped me get to where I am today. Now today we manage and operate community-based outpatient clinics for the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
what those basically are they're basically primary care facilities, like you would go to your doctor here, wherever you go for your doctor, where they do your checkups. But we don't only offer primary care. We offer behavioral health. We offer social services.
So important.
We provide X-rays, laboratory, all sorts of things.
I even
that
saw
these
the
veterans-
telehealth as well.
Yeah, actually, we are
So
one of
even
the
that-
only companies in my sphere that offers telehealth to veterans within our company, within our community-based outpatient clinic.
Wow.
So, and this is something that I, God has given me a gift to see things, to do things that people hadn't thought about before, such as what I'm doing now. And telehealth is something that I've been talking to my executive team about for many, many years. And this is something that we've finally taken the big plunge, and now we're looking at expanding into the 700 VA clinics that that the VA operates themselves to
Wow.
offer this service.
So you're already in 3 different states, and you're looking to expand to.
So we're looking
all
to
the VA
expand now.
hospitals. Beautiful, man.
We have done some remarkable things with this. As a service disabled veteran, my company was the first service disabled veteran owned small business to be awarded contracts of this magnitude with the VA.
Wow.
In the community based outpatient area, and these
Man.
clinics are
Real deal.
pretty intense clinics. These veterans come in on a daily basis with complaints ranging from high blood pressure to, mental breakdowns.
Wow.
So,
and so it's the real deal.
Yeah,
And-
we employ
and it's not just anybody
psychologists.
gets this.
Yeah,
Not-
we employ psychologists, sociologists, nurses, doctors, medical assistants, lab techs, X-ray techs. We employ quite a few people. So
That's beautiful, man. And
I'm proud of
hats
what
off
we've
to
done.
you for that. Yeah, as you should be, man. And you put in the work, and your journey wasn't easy to get here, which is even more impressive. And to come from where you come from, and especially to bounce back from being 3-time convicted felon to being on your way to doctor, owning this many clinics,
I'm 4 classes away from it.
Yeah, 4 classes away.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're gonna be even more nationwide when it comes to the business when you become a doctor, because I see those clinics lining up very soon. With the
Yeah,
700 VA
absolutely.
locations.
We expect to be, in all 50 states.
Hey man, we're
here
gonna claim
here
that.
in the next
Just don't
2
forget
years,
about
so.
us little people over here, man. Just don't forget about us. That's all I ask, brother.
Yeah,
That's
never.
all-
Anything I can do to help you reach the target population, man, the young kids out there, you let me know.
Certainly appreciate that, brother. Certainly appreciate that. And anything I can do to help you in the same light. And one thing I know right now is letting the people know how can they get in touch with you. What's the best way to reach out and contact you, Derrick, or any of your companies?
My company website is www.primary-caresolutions.com.
So
Any of you nurses or nurse practitioners out there, or doctors out there, or any of those that I mentioned, those staff that I mentioned before, you can go to that website, apply directly on that website. You can also reach me at my work email. If you have any questions, you can reach me at my email at Derrick, DERRICK .love-Jones, Love Jones, at primary-caresolutions.com.
Beautiful. And I noticed that Love-Jones in there, brother.
Yeah.
We only have a few seconds left, but you mind sharing?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I told you earlier that I met my father at the age of 13.
Yes,
Over
sir.
the course of as I grew older, him and I became very close. He's gone on to be with the Lord now. But I was his only son, and I wanted to carry that name Jones forward. But I also wanted to give props to my stepfather, who is Love. And so I put them both together, and that's how I came up with Love-Jones. So
that's beautiful.
it's unusual, but I think it's very important that as children we honor our parents, and
yes, sir.
And as the word says, you honor your parents, you will have long life.
Your days will be long. Yeah, absolutely, man. And you're making them both proud, my brother. Yeah. And thank you again for being a guest here today.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Man, we learned a lot, and we're very grateful for your time. And I think the last thing I would ask you is gaming. What was the influence or impact of gaming on your upbringing or your life? Since we're here at Geek Leets Esports Studio.
Well, I tell you, I'm not a big gamer. I never was a big gamer, but I know a lot of people that are, including my two young sons.
So you see it bringing people together, definitely.
I was a watcher. I was a watcher when it came to gaming. I enjoyed watching skateboarding. I enjoy watching track and field.
Yeah, that's almost a sport just watching, man, because a lot of people
I love it.
are watching the game play now.
Love it. I grew up playing volleyball, so I love watching volleyball. I grew up playing rugby. Some
diverse pursuits. Man, we're going to have to bring you back for another interview, my brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to come back. I would love to come back.
Dive deeper. You definitely giving us a lot of nuggets here on this Geek Leets Esports Masterclass, and so I really appreciate that. And just, man, keep doing what you're doing, please, because you're definitely uplifting the whole generation in our culture, doing what you're doing, and lifting off that stigma that is attached to those who have been formerly incarcerated. So we truly appreciate your example, and can't wait to put you in front of more students, and they're going to be watching this, but I can't wait for them to see you in person.
Yeah, I love it. I look forward to it.
We appreciate that, brother. Again, this has been another episode of the MentorConnector podcast here on the Geek Leets Esports Masterclass. I'm your host, King David Reeves. Thank you again to our very special guest, Mr. Derrick Love Jones. About to be Dr. Derrick Love Jones, ladies and gentlemen. And thank y'all for tuning in. We love y'all. We'll see y'all.
Coming to you live from Geek Leets Studios in DeSoto, Texas.